In today's video, we visit another abandoned portion of Highway 80. This stretch is located on the eastern edge of San Diego County between Jacumba and Ocotillo. This portion is on the Mountain Springs grade and was later replaced by Interstate 8. In this video, we're at another abandoned part of Highway 80 east of San Diego. We did a video on abandoned Highway 80 before near Descanso. This portion of it is near Mountain Springs. Mountain Springs is right there behind me. This portion of the road was actually built in about 1913 and paved in 1926. You could tell it's the 1926 portion of the road because it's 20 feet wide. We're right below the Desert View Tower. You can kind of see it up there on the hill a little bit. I'll zoom in. But the great thing about this portion of Highway 80 versus the portion out by Descanso is that this portion you can actually drive on. It's still drivable, and you just have to take a little dirt road off of Mountain Springs Road over there to get to it, because it's the Interstate 8 cuts right through it. So we're gonna drive down and see what we can find. To get to this abandoned portion of Highway 80, you exit Interstate 8 at Mountain Springs Road and you go east on the dirt road where the red marker is on the map. You follow the dirt road until it hits Highway 80, which is marked with a blue marker on the map. You won't need a 4x4 for the dirt road, but a high clearance vehicle is recommended. There is a couple ruts in the road that are a little sketchy. One interesting thing about this abandoned portion of Highway 80 is it's on BLM land, so shooting is allowed out here. There's a part of the road that a lot of people go out to do shooting, and we'll get to it in just a few minutes here. There was this interesting painted portion out here. It looks like somebody did some art. You can actually see this on, if you look at a satellite view on Google Maps, you could see this area, and I was kind of wondering what it was. And getting out here on the ground, you could see that it's some art that people did. Here we are at the portion where most of the shooting takes place. This area is known as Smugglers Gulch, not to be confused with the Smugglers Gulch that is in San Diego on the border with Tijuana. This is mainly a range, and as you saw on the sign, it asked for people to pick up after themselves after they go shooting, which sadly hasn't really been happening here. I see an abandoned TV that's been shot up, casings on the ground, all sorts of different things that have been shot up. There was computers, fire extinguishers, all sorts of things. It looks like some people took out their frustration on some office equipment out here as well. And then there's some more casings. And then on the other side of the road, there's also shooting going on as well. Another range on the other side of the road, or makeshift range on the other side of the road. What's interesting is this portion of Highway 80 is in between two portions of the 8. However, it's elevated and there's mountains, so there's no danger of bullets hitting any cars on the 8 below. As you probably saw from the footage of the drive and this huge boulder here, rock slides are a big problem. Not much you can do about this giant rock here driving down the road. But, so there's the 8 freeway down there. And so this was a much windier road. It was such a problem that truckers didn't want to come this way from Imperial Valley to San Diego. They would actually avoid these turns by going up to Los Angeles and then coming down, instead of taking the more direct route of the amount of turns going through this windy mountain road at Mountain Springs grade. Huge problem. As I mentioned, the road was built in 1913 and they started paving in 1926. This is from the, I'm not sure how well you can read this on the camera. It shows this part was paved in 1927. But the road was such a problem that they ended up redoing it and actually moving the road closer to where the 8 is now, and get rid of some of the turns. You can see this old portion here that they actually tried to extend it at parts with blacktop to make it not quite as narrow on some of these curves. We're getting towards the end of this portion of it before it gets cut off by the 8. And we're actually going to park here and just walk to the end. As I mentioned before, it is a 20-foot road. There's a steep drop on one side and a mountain on the other side, so turning around on it isn't the easiest thing with a larger car, which we have today. So we're just going to walk the few hundred feet to the end. As I was saying, this portion was built 1926, 1927. It was paved, and it was so windy that they had to rebuild the road to have less curves in it and also much wider. And they opened the new road in 1938, which bypassed this portion of the road. So this road has been virtually abandoned since the 1930s, aside from people driving down here to do shooting or any other activities. There was a motorcycle that's up in front of us that came down as well. And there's the 8 freeway down below. And here we are at literally the end of the road. As you can see, it ends right here. Now, it would have gone downhill and gone around this curve originally, and if you look at a Google satellite view of this area, you can actually see the curves on the other side of this bend here. You can actually see some more of the old road as it goes over there. However, that road's not reachable from here without going on down to the 8 freeway. Now, this was a very important road when this was built for San Diego, as prior to this road it would take days to get from San Diego to Imperial Valley, Yuma, and then once this road was completed in 1913, the road it would take less than a day to go between Yuma and San Diego, and that was very important for moving troops from Fort Yuma and also agriculture from the Imperial Valley. Still, as I mentioned earlier, because of the windiness of this road, truckers didn't want to take this route, so they would avoid it and go up through Los Angeles and then come down, actually making it take longer to get stuff to San Diego. And that's why they ended up improving the road, moving it just 12 years later. See lots of rock slides in this area. So that's our look at this portion of the abandoned Highway 80 at Mountain Springs. It can't be understated how important this road was to the early 20th century history of the city of San Diego. If you have any questions about the road or want more information on how to get out there, feel free to leave a comment below. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and we'll see you next week.